would like a little laughing skull?
Join the team.
Well, that was intense. Alright, team. This is the McGuire Review, and today we're going to be taking a look at Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising. Now, this is a brand new one from Lucky Duck Games, and what we're going to do in this video, just to specify, is we are going to look at the differences between the platforms, and we're going to look at specifically what you get new in Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising. This is not going to be a how to play or set up the game. There's other videos out there you can get for that. This is going to be the video that tells you if you want to buy this game or not. This is going to be the video that gives you the goods. If you already know what Kingdom Rush is, we are going to go a little bit over conceptually what the game is, but we're not going to go too deep into the gameplay of Kingdom Rush. We're going to focus on why you would want to get Elemental Uprising, because technically it is the same game, but it has new mechanics, and it's done in a way that even if you own Kingdom Rush, A Rift in Time, which was the first version of this game, let's specify this is not a second version, this is not an expansion, this is another release of Kingdom Rush. It is another offering of Kingdom Rush. And I think they've done a really good job with that, because it doesn't feel like there's just a couple things tweaked. You really are getting different mechanics in this version of Kingdom Rush that make you feel like, yes, it's the same game, but it does play out strategically and mechanically different because of some of the new things. So if you already own Kingdom Rush Rift in Time and you love that game, you are going to love Elemental Uprising. I think I prefer this version of Kingdom Rush to Rift in Time. They're both really good, but I prefer this version, especially because of the new mini-bosses and monsters you're going to get, as well as there are no more portal cards. And we're going to talk about that, how they kind of replace the portal cards with something a little bit different that I actually like. I think it adds a little bit more flavor to the game, a little bit more randomness to the game, because you don't know actually what's coming with the different and new event cards that are going to be in your Horde stacks. So that's something that's new as well. So let's back up. Let's rewind a little bit, because I want to get all the new stuff in one section, and I've said too much. Okay, so if you're somebody who loves Kingdom Rush and has played it, you're going to love this expansion. Damn it, it's not an expansion. So if you're someone who loves Kingdom Rush, you're going to love this second. It's not a second edition. So if you're someone who loves Kingdom Rush, you're going to love this second offering of the game. Now, if you have never played Kingdom Rush before, you can get A Rift in Time. It's already out if you want to go check that out. If you love tower defense games, and that's what this is, you're really going to like this board game, because it's probably one of the best board games that has translated that experience of a tower defense video game. This is probably your best offering out there that's been able to do that pound for pound. But if you've never played Kingdom Rush and you're just experiencing this, just getting into it, finding it here on Gamefound, then you may just want to get into Kingdom Rush by picking up Elemental Rising. Okay? So you got both of those offerings out there, and you can go either way. So Kingdom Rush is a tower defense game, as we said. You will be pulling these awesome little holder tiles out, and you'll be getting cards from this deck. And there's a number of things we're going to take a look at here. But let's just, for example, get one of these out. Every card is going to look similar to this right here, where it's going to have a number of enemies on it. And you're going to set those cards down. There's a little line here. Again, we're not going to get into all the rules. There's a little line here that always has to be oriented at the bottom. And these tiles are essentially going to spawn out from different locations of your map, and it is scenario based, so your map will be set up different ways. They'll come onto the board and they'll move around throughout the game. Now, you don't want them making their way off of the board, because then it will damage your kingdom, and once your kingdom takes all the hearts or the health that it has, you would lose the game. So round to round, you're going to want to work with other players. You can also solo this game. It is very much a cooperative game. You'll be taking all your actions in any order that you wish when you play. It's a very, very cooperative game from that perspective. and you'll be doing different types of attacks to cover each one of these little squares inside of these horde tiles. Now, sometimes they look like this, where there's just, one little person or one little enemy on a bunch of different squares. Sometimes they'll have little icons on them, which will make them move faster or be more resistant to damage or be able to heal. So you want to take all of those enemies out first, so this tile doesn't have those abilities. And sometimes you'll find tiles that will have larger enemies on them, and we'll see if we can find... Oh, here we go. Here's our gorilla guy. He's got a little banana right there, where you can see that there's a larger enemy on this one here, where you would just place maybe one of your awesome little hero miniatures on that one to cover that up. So that's conceptually how this game works. These tiles are going to come out. You're going to take turns trying to cover all of these spaces before these tiles move off of the board. And it isn't something that is necessarily easy, per se. You do have to work very strategically. It's also a very tactical game as well. I say strategically. It's sort of short strategy within the round, where all the players are making those actions in a most efficient way to cover everything that's out on the board. Because you'll have a number of these plates that would be out on the board at one time. Now, with any traditional tower defense game, you're also going to have towers that you're going to place on the board as well. You'll find those right here. And the towers are really cool. They all have different abilities. They can be upgraded from level 1, level 2 to level 3. They do different types of damage to the enemy. And there's a number of icons on these which will tell you which way the tower is oriented, which way it can shoot. So you might be able to shoot left, right, straight. And you'll be able to orient those towers as you position them around the board, and they'll be able to shoot different ways. Your heroes work the same way. When they are on the board, you'll want to have them facing certain ways, because each one of those do have different abilities that can fire out as well, and depending on the facing that they have, that's the direction that their attack will fire. Okay? That, at a high level, is Kingdom Rush. That's how the game is going to work. Now let's talk about Kingdom Rush Elemental Rising, and some of the things are going to be different. If you've never played Rift in Time, Kingdom Rush, then none of this will mean anything to you. You'll just get to hear what this version of the game has. If you have played a Rift in Time, then these things are going to be meaningful to you. So there is no longer portal cards. That's a big change with this game compared to the other version of Kingdom Rush. There is no portal cards. So there is nothing that's going to be taking out your towers like it would have in the prior version of the game. In this version of the game, they've replaced the portal cards with event cards, and I actually like this mechanic better. Again, I'm more of a fan of Elemental Uprising than I am of Rift of Time. Mainly because of the mini-boss multi-figures and these events, which I think are really cool. There are some other things we're going to hit, but I really like these events. So these events will be in the Horde deck, and they'll come out depending on the scenario that you've set up in a certain order. And as they come out, they'll change things on the board, what's going on, which I think adds this level of randomness. It's not like you're just managing which towers I want to fire at this portal card from the Rift in Time, because you're gonna flip those towers over and then kind of lose them. They go back to the supply deck. This is more of, okay, I thought I had it under control, but now this event come out, and it's actually kind of changed the environment a little bit, and now I'm going to have to respond to this as well as what's on the board. And it adds this level of tension that I think is done really well. So this one here, for instance, just says, a missive and mighty hobgoblin warchief approaches. Mini-bosses have action icons, a little skull on their card. These do not have to be covered to defeat them. Before a mini-boss moves, draw a card from the mini-boss action deck. If the mini-boss has enough action icons showing on its horde card, it uses its special attack. So that's going to happen when that event comes out. Let's look at another event here. It says the lava pool is about to erupt. So we'll talk about that right after we hit this one. That's perfect timing. Remove all crystals on the lava pool and return them to the supply. This round, after hordes advance, heroes adjacent to or on the lava pool suffer 2 damage. Okay, so that's another example of an event that could come out. So we'll stop there with the events, and we'll go right to some new mechanic that's right here with these little withering flowers and the lava pool. So the lava pool is going to be positioned on the board based on where the scenario says it needs to go. And there's going to be crystals that are going to be put. Where's my crystals? Here's a couple crystals. There are going to be crystals that are going to be placed on the lava pool. Now, if you remember, if you've played Rift in Time, crystals are basically your currency to upgrade and buy new towers. There is a new currency in this game, which is gold as well. That will be used. You'll have crystals or gold. But let's go back to our lava pool here. You will place these 2 crystals on the lava pool, and then if you go to the lava pool, you kind of move through it, you're able to pick up these crystals. So it's just another way to be able to gain those crystal currencies, is what the lava pool is offering. Now, if you do stop your movement adjacent or on a lava pool, you will take 1 damage. So you need to be careful with that as well, depending on where you're placed. Where with this event here, if this would have came out, and you would have been adjacent or on it, you would have taken 2 damage, and you would have lost all the crystals. So it's just something to know that there will be events in there that will affect the good stuff that's on the board. So you may want to go after that stuff early and often to make sure an event can't later take it away from you. So that's how the new lava pool is going to work. We've also got these little flowers that can be on the board in different locations, and they can also wither. They will wither once you activate them or use them. They almost are like a tower. If you get to that spot and you activate it, you'll just flip over the little token to its withered side, and then it will activate. And it will actually shoot arrows out at one of the horde cards, and it does have perfect aim, which just means that anywhere within a path it can hit. So these can be very, very powerful, and there are different cards that will come out over the course of the game that will allow you to reactivate those blossoms to bring them back on the board for you, to give you a little bit more firepower. It's almost like just another tower on your board that you know, you can. It's kind of one-time use special tower that you have out there. So that's how the withered blossoms are going to work. Okay, so those are really cool. And then you have your awesome mini bosses and larger bosses in the game. There's a couple examples for the prototype that's included here. There's only 2 scenarios that come with the prototype, and there are some mini bosses. You'll see this mini boss, when it comes out, does allow you to revamp 2 of your blossoms on the board, which is cool. So you get 2 of those withered blossoms back, ready to fight this mini boss. You'll see the mini boss is much larger. It cannot be covered just by a single hero. You still got quite a bit there to go when you try to cover those up. So big boss, and then you've also got your little your gold skulls. And remember, that first event that we read actually had something to do with those gold skulls that are on this mini boss here. Again, the new version is going to come with much larger bosses that have multi-miniature pieces. Here's kind of a big boss from Rift in Time, but imagine this with like 3 or 4 other little pieces that were part of it, that all were on the board that you were battling and fighting, just like epic level boss battles that are built into Elemental Uprising. That's another reason why I really like this version, is because it offers not only just the tower defense of fighting off all the little hordes, but now you got to fight off this like epic level boss. So that's really cool, and I think it added another dynamic to a game like this. You're also going to have mini boss action decks. So there's going to be a little deck of cards that go with your mini boss that are going to be able to do things for that boss. Like this one here, for example, says each mini boss in play with 1 plus a gold skull. So anything that's a gold skull that's not covered up yet performs its special attack. So you want to be careful, and you do want to cover up these skulls as quickly as possible, or it's going to get its special attack. There's also quite a few new little icons throughout the game. This one here has a tough symbol, so it means that it's a tougher enemy to be able to defeat. And there'll be a number of those icons you'll see even on your horde boards over the course of the game. On Kingdom Rush, A Rift of Time, you will notice that there were some stickers in that game that was used primarily to track your campaign and the results of each one of those scenarios. There are some really cool reusable stickers that are offered in this one here. And we'll take a look at this sticker right here. So what these are used for is a way to upgrade your towers. So now your towers, if it doesn't have a little, there is a little icon on here sometimes that will say the tower cannot be upgraded, but this one doesn't have it. If you wanted to upgrade a tower, and let's say we wanted to update or upgrade the Mystic Tower here, it does have a little like knapsack, little sack. It's this sack. You're gonna put your stickers and your different things that are available here on this sack, and then you can go to that and you can put this, and it just kind of lightly, it's removable, right? It's the way it's made, so it just kind of sticks on the card there, and now you've been able to upgrade that tower to not only do what it does, but also that, right? So now you can shoot 3 different ways and even send in a military unit to cover up a space. So that I thought was a really cool ability to be able to add these little stickers here to actually upgrade it. And see, they just peel right off, and then you can store them right back here when you're done. Okay, and that's how these stickers work. They're just reusable stickers that will go on your towers to be able to upgrade them. I think that's a really cool mechanic as well. To be able to customize and modify the towers, and that's something that's really neat because every time you play, in the prior version of the game, it's like, oh, the Mystic Tower does this every single time, and it can be upgraded like X amount of times, and it might be more powerful, but now the Mystic Tower can be upgraded, and you can customize it to do a number of other things. And that isn't just the Mystic Tower, it's a ton of different towers that are included in this new version of the game. So I think that was a really good mechanic to add in. It just allows you to customize those towers to your heart's ability. Okay? What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at exactly some of the differences here. We're going to run through this list, and then we're going to take a look at our new heroes that are included for the prototype. Again, there will be a number of new heroes in the full box version, and obviously through the Gamefound funding, I'm sure there'll be a ton of other things unlocked and added to this game. So I'm really excited about Elemental Uprising. That's where it's at for me. So again, age 14 plus, number of players 1 to 4. It's a total solo game. It's a great solo experience. Duration 45 to 90 minutes. All right. All of this we've already talked through, but let's hit it again. Progress through a story-driven campaign. We didn't hit that point, so I'm glad I got the list. All right, you're going to get a prologue where it's going to step you into how to play, which is going to be really nice. And then it's going to get you 12 unique scenarios that are going to be included. Now, maybe that's expanded upon as part of the funding. I don't know, we'll see, but it does list 12 unique scenarios. You'll play as any one of 5 brand new characters. You got 5 brand new characters, and the beauty of the characters is these characters will work in a Rift of Time, and a Rift of Time characters will work in Elemental Uprising. So you can sort of mix and match the characters within each game to use in any variation of the game, which I thought was well done. I was worried about that this would be so different that the mechanics on the characters wouldn't work in a Rift of Time, but they designed it in a way that it does. Face the elements. We talked about our new elements here, the lava pool as well as the blossoms, and being able to use those. Modify your towers with the tower stickers. What an awesome new mechanic. Take on huge bosses represented by giant miniatures. And it does show this giant miniature, and you can see that there on the Gamefound page as well as some of their intro videos they've done. If you want to take a look at that, it's really cool. You also face challenges with a infinite replayability mode. So let's say you work through all of the scenarios. There's a new infinite replayability mode where you can just play it. It's like a randomly generated sort of game that you can play over and over and over again, which is really cool. Heroes from both Kingdom Rush and Rift can play across both games. So we got that. The only other thing that I would mention is that this version of the game also has a new difficulty star level, so you can play at 1, 2, or 3 star level. You've also got a heroic mode, and you have an iron challenge mode. So they have designed this new version to have a number of difficulties. So if you just want to play like family version with your kids, you can play it like 1 star, or you can amp that all the way up to the iron challenge for the most hardcore of tower defense players. So that'll be a fun one to try once we get the production version of this game. That might actually be a good video to just just try to do the iron challenge within a video. That would be pretty cool. Okay, so that is everything in... Is that everything? That is everything in Kingdom Rush Elemental Uprising. We will take a look at our 2 new characters here to end the video, because I do think these characters are very cool that they did include in the prototype here. Bruxa is a new character, kind of a witch doctor type look and character, which I thought was really cool. There is a basic attack. There's also 2 different special abilities. The Laughing Skulls, which is pretty cool. Return any number of skulls to the supply. For each that you return, you can orient in any way a double skull damage in basically your front arc curve. So again, that matters how the facing is of how that is going to attack. Okay, let's take a look at the second ability, which is put a soldier on each horde adjacent to Bruxa. If Bruxa has 2 or more skulls, do not exhaust this ability. Nice. So you wouldn't even have to exhaust this ability if she at least had 2 or more skulls. So that's pretty awesome. So I do like the way that this character works. You kind of have to utilize this skull management sort of system to ensure that you're making the most use of this character. There are some special abilities here under her character card as well. It says at the start of the turn, for each skull she has, there would be an attack of true damage that's going to go out for that front arc any way that she's faced. If she has 4 skulls, remove 3 of them from her board, and you can do any orientation of the double damage. She's going to be a very versatile player. We're going to be able to lay out a lot of damage in different oriented ways, but you're going to have to make sure that you're managing those skulls that are on her board. As she's gaining those and you're using them, you're going to have to be very strategic. I think this is where the strategy comes in with this character. And I would say that this character is a very high level of strategy and could do a lot of damage in a lot of effective ways if you manage the usage of these skulls and how you're, when you're spending those. So really good there. This character here offers a couple little extra soldiers, or little sand soldiers, that can be placed out and cover up areas of that horde board as well on different, spots. Just a way to cover up a couple more areas of a board. So we'll take a look here at Ulrich. He's pretty cool as well. Okay, much like Bruxa has the skulls, Ulrich has the little sand warriors here. So it says at the start of the game and when Ulrich places 2 sand warriors in his space, sand warriors may move up to 2 spaces and can activate blossoms. You can activate blossoms with these little guys. Heroes on the same horde as the sand warrior have shield or have defense. So you have more defense against incoming attacks. So Ulrich can be very much of a tank out there on the board, and if you need to pick up crystals, because again, if it being such a cooperative based game, these crystals are kind of a pool for any of the characters. You're going to want to probably use Ulrich to pick up those crystals to have that defense to be able to ward off against any damage that would come from lava pools or different types of things like that. He has got 2 special abilities as well as a basic attack. Basic attack's just kind of putting variation of his tiles out there. The character's tiles do have their own, little logo on them. This one's called Blood and Sand. It does just your standard physical damage. Those little icons are right there on the cards. It says put 1 anywhere in play. So basically you're just putting 1 of his double attacks in any orientation anywhere in play. The any orientation is very important because sometimes towers have the symbols oriented in one way, and if there isn't that little any orientation symbol that's on there, you got to put it literally on the board exactly like it says it should go. Where if it has the any orientation, you can turn it any way to cover up any of those areas. So those are very important. The other special ability is called Flurry for him. It's again any orientation. It is melee, just our physical damage, and it does 1, 2, 3, 4, a double and 2 singles in any orientation. So this one's an actual really powerful, and you want to use that when you got a lot of them on a horde board. You have a lot of different monsters on a board because each one of these little horde are going to look different, right? So, you can see that one's got, all over the place. This one's, that one's a big one all over the place. That's got a few, but, it says that certain types of damage can't be used, but you only have a few on there. And then on the other side, once you defeat them, that's when you're going to get your rewards, either a gold or a crystal to be able to use to upgrade your stuff. Okay, so that is Ulrich, and we'll look at, he does not have a special ability like we saw with Bruxia. She did have a little bit of an extra thing that was under there. He does not. So you can see that each one of these heroes are totally different in how they play, which is also pretty cool. It isn't just like every hero does the same thing. Each one of the heroes that you're playing are very, very different. And I would say in this version of Kingdom Rush, they are significantly different in the way that they're designed. And that was another thing I picked up on just with these two characters that I really like in this version of the game. The only other thing that I will show is these little 3D towers that you can get, and they do come in a nice box. So you can get this little expansion from Lucky Duck Games. It is the 3D towers, and that just offers a little spot to set on your board like this. It's all it does. It's more cosmetic, and then your towers can be positioned and they set right on top of that like this. It just gives you a little bit more of a tower feel. So if that's a cosmetic that you want, something that you want to get, you can always upgrade and get these little 3D towers, which I thought were pretty cool. Otherwise, you'll just set your towers, right on the board, and it works just the same. Just gives you a little bit of more three-dimensional depth. It definitely is a little bit more eye candy, especially when you get the miniatures and different things that are out on the board. You got bosses that are out on the board. You've got these three-dimensional towers that then, come out. Then it really starts to add a lot of 3D height as you're kind of playing that game, and it is more visually appealing. So that's something that you can add on if you want to. Okay, so team, that's been Kingdom Rush from Lucky Duck Games. This is the Elemental Uprising. It is on Gamefound. That is where it is going to be funded. This time, it is, I believe, the second major campaign on that platform, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one does. And if you are interested in tower defense games, trust me, you're going to love this one. So hit that like, hit the subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.